Hey everyone, and welcome to Inside Gaming for Monday. And if you don't know who this person is here, this is Amir. Hi. He's one of our new hires. You might have seen him on just one video, kind of lurking around there, but this is your first daily.
Yeah,
right?
It is. Wow. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the meat grinder.
Thank you.
Bioware.
Let's chase its ass.
Okay, what are you guys gonna do to me?
You have to strip naked and stand in a foot of freezing cold water on your knees, and then Brian and I are gonna take wiffle ball bats to your jewels.
Luckily, that's
personally, I'm just gonna beat the out of you.
Yeah, Bioware and Blizzard are two of the most storied developers in video games. Each has a long history that includes some of the most recognizable franchises in the industry, from Mass Effect to Warcraft to Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, StarCraft, and Diablo.
But each company had its worst year ever in 2019, leaving questions about both of their futures going into a new decade.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Brian, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. Yeah, so Blizzard executives kind of always knew that 2019 was going to be tough. Despite the success of its most recent game, Overwatch, Blizzard hadn't released a new game in years.
Yeah, it was feeling the heat from parent company Activision to start making more games, and in late 2018, Kotaku reported that Blizzard staff were told to reduce expenses, but also to make more games. You have to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, more ominously, Activision's influence is growing on Blizzard. One person told Kotaku that a lot of decisions now are being driven by business folks, marketing and finance folks. There's a real struggle now between developers and the business people.
As somebody that got my foot in the door in the games industry by doing social media for Guitar Hero Live, I can tell you from experience, those guys do not around. Yeah, that cost cutting included reducing the staff of underperforming MOBA Heroes of the Storm, as well as killing its esports program.
Then as 2019 began, Blizzard got bad news, layoffs, and lots of them.
That is putting it lightly. How lightly is that putting it, Brian?
Yes. Brian.
Yeah, it was the opposite of lightly. Activision Blizzard as a company laid off about 800 people. It was a corporate-wide restructuring. More than 200 of those came from Blizzard. They included IT people, as well as marketing, customer service, publishing, and more. I don't think they came from the dev side, but it was from everywhere else.
I like that they use the word restructuring. I feel like that's like the best way to confront your wife about a divorce. Listen, I just want to restructure this relationship by you not being in it. So I'm
without
taking
you
the
in
kids.
it. Blizzard might have been vulnerable because it didn't really have any new games planned in 2019. The CFO of Activision Blizzard said in February that they expected, quote, materially lower financial performance from Blizzard all through the year.
So 2019 was already not a great year for Blizzard, but then as the year was drawing to a close, Blizzard made an unforced error that turned it into one of the most hated companies in gaming almost overnight.
Brian, do tell.
Oh yes, this was the infamous incident in October when a Hearthstone player named Blitzchung was giving a post-game interview after a tournament. During the interview, he appeared in a gas mask and voiced support for protesters in Hong Kong.
Literally nothing is cooler if it's not in a gas mask.
I do my grocery shopping in a gas mask. People in my neighborhood smell like
Get one of those gas masks that has the bong attached to the bottom, just pushing your cart through Wegmans.
walking around ripped as hell.
Blizzard immediately cracked down and hard on Blitzchung. They suspended him for a year, stripped him of all his prize money from the tournament. Son of a bitch.
God damn. Yeah, this sparked a massive backlash from players who got the impression that Blizzard was siding with China and its massive market over people who were protesting to their rights.
It also highlighted the fact that Activision Blizzard works with companies like NetEase and Tencent to develop mobile games, which seemed to be proof that the company didn't want to rock the boat by criticizing China.
Yeah, even some employees inside Blizzard apparently protested the decision to punish Blitzchung, saying that the company had strayed from its core values. Yeah, you think?
Blizzard tried to get a hold of the situation at BlizzCon. President J. Allen Brack, good old Jab, gave a tearful apology about how they handled the situation. Brian, how did they handle that situation?
He sort of teared up about it on stage, but despite all the public crying, the fact remained that Blitzchung was still suspended for 6 months. They reduced it a little bit, but he was still suspended.
Can you do the crying voice again, Brian?
We're so sorry about how we handled everything. Anyway, he's still suspended.
I am sorry, and I accept accountability.
Yeah, well, Blizzard's tried to refocus gamers' attention on upcoming new games like Diablo 4, but as 2019 draws to a close, it's still a very damaged company.
Before all this, most gamers had a soft spot in their hearts for Blizzard and its reputation for delivering good, polished games. Those were the days.
Nope. Yeah, now they just look like a shill for China, and while the company isn't dead, their reputation may be, or at least on the way out.
And as for Bioware, 2019 was supposed to be a bounce back year. Over the years, the developer has won a lot of love for its story-heavy franchises like Mass Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yeah, but their last game, Mass Effect Andromeda, didn't exactly set the world on fire, now did it? Released in 2017 with a ton of bugs, weird facial looking animations that quickly turned the game into a meme.
Yeah, there were sort of frozen-faced expressions. GIFs almost immediately started popping up of weird-looking faces, crab-walking NPCs. It was just something that, like, the internet just all kind of dogpiled on for a second. Not great when you're launching a game, though.
I'm in a different kind of crabs.
Oh. After Andromeda's bad reception, the studio that made it, Bioware Montreal, was merged into another studio, EA Motive. A way cooler name. Bioware outright canceled planned DLC for the game, and several Bioware Montreal employees were moved to other projects. Relocated. Restructured.
Yeah, and one of the biggest projects they moved on to was Anthem, a sci-fi shooter with Iron Man-esque suits that was going to be the studio's big online service game.
If you've been watching Inside Gaming for the last year, you've definitely never heard of Anthem. You've never heard our coverage of Anthem. Yeah, but lots of people viewed Anthem as a risky bet, right, Brian?
Yeah, the game was a departure for Bioware for one. It was a multiplayer game that lots of people compared to Destiny, sci-fi universe with MMO aspects, lots of loot. It was out of their comfort zone for sure. And Bioware had a lot riding on Anthem.
Yeah, this is why you don't change ever. Do what you're comfortable with and then do it well. And then die. Story last year in Kotaku said that the studio had directed most of its resources to working on Anthem.
Yeah, and Kotaku added that there's a sense among Bioware employees that the company's future is inextricably tied to this game.
Fucking nailed it, dude.
Thanks, man.
And you probably know what happened next. Anthem's launch was, drumroll, a disaster. Yeah, Brian, you got more?
Yeah,
that was a terrible throw. Let me do that again. I'm sorry.
That throw was a disaster.
A throw was a disaster. Right? Hey, Brian, do tell.
Yeah, we did a couple stories on this. It released
maybe
in
one or
February.
two.
Despite selling millions of copies, it struggled immediately out of the gate. It basically made headlines for all the bad reasons. It had buggy gameplay, there wasn't enough stuff to do, there was loot issues. Basically, players felt like they bought a game that wasn't finished, aka AAA gaming in 2019.
Yeah, anyways, as the months went by, the development team had to prioritize fixing basic issues over adding new content, which, surprise, doesn't exactly help the fun factor of the game.
Bioware completely abandoned its content roadmap in order to fix core problems, and as the months went by, the player base dwindled to almost nothing.
Yeah, to make matters worse, everyone in charge of the game left the company. That included the game's lead producer, Ben Irving, and later Bioware's director of live services, Chad Robertson, who had to become the public face of the game after Irving left. A hot potato that nobody wants, right, Brian?
Yeah, by the end of 2019, lots of people assumed that BioWare would abandon Anthem the way it did Mass Effect Andromeda. After all, everybody knows BioWare's working on Dragon Age 4, so it would make sense they would need to shift resources to their next big game, but apparently they're not ready to pull the plug on Anthem yet.
I really thought Anthem would have had a DNR just like outlined by the time they got to the hospital. But
Grandma's in a suit and she needs to be put down, so just pull the plug, let her die, bury it, and nobody will talk about her anymore. That's the natural course of life.
leave the vegetable plugged in for as long as it can possibly not wither on the vine.
Or as long as you can afford.
At the end of 2019, Kotaku reported that Bioware is planning a complete overhaul of the game, similar to the way No Man's Sky was brought back from the brink of death.
Yeah, Kotaku's saying that most of Anthem's systems, including its world, its mission structure, and its loot, will all be changed.
Thank God. Yeah, we don't have details yet, but they've got a lot of work to do if they're gonna make Anthem into a better game. Even then, there's really no guarantee that players will ever return.
At the end of the day, 2019 did a lot of damage to Bioware as a company that's now put out 2 flops in a row, which is not good for any developer, much less a big AAA studio like Bioware.
Yeah, but it's great if you're going to the beach. You gotta wear 2 flip-flops. Yeah, these games are really expensive to make and can take years. It's not uncommon for a big budget flop to actually just kill a studio.
For now, Bioware is putting on a brave face and plowing ahead, right, Brian?
Yeah, but if Anthem was a make or break game for BioWare, it's safe to assume that Dragon Age 4 definitely is.
Yeah, what's bigger than make or break? Make or death?
Make or unplug grandma because the bill is running up. Yeah, overall, it's safe to say that neither Blizzard nor BioWare will miss 2019. Both developers are much worse off going into 2020. They might not be dead, but they're wounded and limping, just like grandma.
Grandma's not doing much limping anymore. Yeah, as for the industry, that's really not a good thing. Blizzard and BioWare are 2 of the marquee studios in all of video games. They've made iconic games and legendary franchises. If they go down, video games will be much worse off. I mean, we're sitting here cracking jokes, but like, those are 2 really storied developers. I mean, that would really suck shocked to see them kind of go belly up this way.
You're really only a few bad decisions away from just in the bed.
This is a good lesson to have in life. You are literally moments away from possibly being ruined and dead at any given time.
That's what posting on Twitter is like.
You're only one word away from getting canceled. So for their sakes, here's hoping that the new decade will bring much better news. But I am not holding my breath because I am a cynic. And
Neither is Grandma, because she's on a respirator.
one last clap for Zachy boy. That was amazing.
What are you gonna do with the last 2 days of your 2019?
Unplug Grandma.
There it is.
Game, and this one's not for your phone. Shocking. What's the deal with this? I almost called you Blizzard.
Yeah, it was leaked that Blizzard is going to announce Diablo 4. Now, again, this one has also been out there for a while. Really seemed to be confirmed, though, after a new book called The Art of Diablo explicitly mentioned the game. So pretty good clue